Hello, this is Marge from Painting with Marge. I have been asked multiple times to create a video tutorial on how to create my alcohol ink doodled ornaments. I will make this as comprehensive as possible and show you the entire process I go through, or at least take you through the steps. This is an ornament that is beautiful, colorful, and very meditating and zen to actually create. So if you need a little zen in your life right now, and I think we all can use a little bit, this will actually be quite pleasing to you. So back in December, I started creating these ornaments, and I started by purchasing these ornaments on Consumer Crafts website online. They are two-piece sets of 3.9-inch glass ornaments. I had purchased one from Michaels, and I will say that they cracked very easily. So I try to stay away from those. These I found were a lot more robust and held up pretty good in the prepping part, and you'll see why they have to be fairly stable. So in order for the alcohol inks to actually look matte and not transparent, we don't want it looking like stained glass. We want to actually have the color pop on that ball. We need to prep the ornament with some acrylic white paint on the inside. So I tested different paints, and I found that a lot of them were very thick, and actually inserting the paint and allowing it to dry was almost an impossible task. So what I found, and first you end up removing the top. I went to Michael's and purchased this very inexpensive artist acrylic. And I removed about a quarter of the amount of paint on this container and added water. So probably a quarter of water. And I shook it really good. And it was the right consistency to then insert some into the glass ball, and you're going to roll it around until the entire ball is covered in white paint on the inside. You're then going to take a cup, and a solo cup or some other round cup, and you're going to place it upside down and let the paint drain out of the ornament. Once it drained, then I tipped it onto the cup this way. So the top of the ornament where I filled was pointing to the side and not into the cup. And I placed a fan on low in front of my cup. And honestly, I let that dry for 24 hours. And then what I had is this. I have a ornament that is painted on the inside in white. If you have some spots that the white did not coat fully, it's okay. It's not going to change anything at all. So let me go ahead and take the top off. And you see that there's still maybe a little bit of paint crusted on there. You can clean that off if you wish. It's not going to hurt anything as long as it's not very thick and the top can go on. And the first thing we're going to be sure is that we clean the outside of the ornament with a little alcohol to make sure that any grease has been removed from the outside and any paint that may have spilled or smudged on the outside is removed. So I'm going to go ahead and just add a little bit of alcohol to a piece of paper towel, and I'm going to clean the inside. We want to wait till that is completely dry before we continue on to the next step, which will be starting to apply our inks. So while this dries, let's talk about these inks just a little bit. These alcohol inks are made by Jaquard, and these are the Piñata collection. I love Piñata inks because they are highly pigmented and very bright in color. And other than the yellow, which can be a tad bit transparent, all of these colors will give you a good pop of color. If you are looking for alcohol inks to start with, Michael's and other stores, you can purchase these online, sell what's called exciter packs. The exciter packs comes with a set of colors to start you with, and there's a couple different ones you can choose from. In this case, I've chosen lime green, Baja blue, passion purple, calabaza orange, senorita magenta, which is probably my most favorite color of all, and golden yellow. So I am going to put these aside, and let's talk a little bit about what I'm using for my doodles. I am using these paint markers, Posca paint markers. Their tips are 0.7 millimeter, and the product code is PC-1MR and PC1M without the R, and I'll tell you what the difference is. The one without the R has a plastic nib that you can actually remove in order to clean. You can wash them, dry them, and put them back in. So if they get goobered up, you can actually remove that tip to clean. This type of tip is excellent for hard surfaces such as ornaments or Yupo paper. If you are going to doodle on canvas, this is not the tip that you want. Instead, you will want to use this one, which is PC-1MR. And this one has a very fine tip, same as 0.7, but you cannot remove it. It is for surfaces like canvas that the plastic tip one may actually snag on. So we are going to be using the one with the plastic nib simply because we are going to be doodling on a hard surface and don't have to worry about anything snagging on the tip. All right, so now that I have that done, let me go ahead and show you how I'm going to prepare and hold my ornament while I work on it. I'm going to take some paper towel and I am going to wad it up. Well, first I have two of the single size pieces together. I'm going to fold that in half, and then all I'm going to do then is roll it up. Make sure that you twist the end and you have a nice firm holder to work with. And I'm going to stick this into the ornament. The reason I'm doing this is I don't want to use my finger because there's little shards of glass that can cut you. We don't want to do that. So I'm taking my ornament now and placing it over the paper towel. That is how I'm going to hold it the entire time. So before I start, I'm going to go ahead and open my colors and have them ready to use. You can pick any amount of colors that you want, or if you just want to go with a set of 2, 3, or 4 colors, it's totally up to you. Now, of all the colors that I'm using here, they're all pretty thick except the yellow color. And I'll show you in a minute why that is important to know. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and get my ornament ready. And what we're going to do is patches of color all over, almost like you're building or creating a puzzle. And you don't want these pieces of the puzzle to be too small. You want to have some area in there that will allow you to create some nice doodles. So keeping that in mind, I'm going to start with Senorita Magenta. This is my absolute best favorite color of the Exciter packs. All right, so these are squeeze bottle. You're not going to squeeze the ink onto the ornament. You don't want to drip ink down the ornament. You want to have very controlled flow. So this takes some patience, and at some point I may speed up this video once I have given you instructions, just so you don't have to wait for the entire ornament to be done, because this can take a little time. You want to blow as you add ink. You want to make sure also that you are in a well-ventilated room with a window open. These are inks that we're working with, and they do have some fumes to them. So make sure that you have a fan going in your room and a window open. If you have a filter, air filter, that is very helpful as well. All right, so to start, I'm going to very gently just place my tip on the ornament. I am not squeezing. I am letting the ink just come out, and I'm going to use it almost like if it was a little roller. That's all I'm doing. I am not squeezing the bottle. I am trying to be very controlled. And lightly blow so that it has allowed to dry just a little bit before you go to your next area. So you just want to start then and do another patch of color elsewhere on your ornament. All right, I will continue to make strategic patches. And see here, we have a little bit of a drip going. So I'm just tipping around and just making sure I don't have too much of a drip. You want to go up to the base of the ornament. Now here I accidentally let it sit on the puppy pad and it took some of the ink off. So I don't want that to happen. I'll just go ahead and fix that. All right, so the yellow is runnier than the other colors. So you have to be very, very careful. It is not as thick as the other pigments or the other inks. So you want to be very careful. Very, very careful. Because this one will run away on you. I have allowed my ornament to dry for about 15, 20, or 20 minutes. And what I like to do prior to starting my doodling, I like to apply a very light layer of Kamar finish. If you're not familiar with alcohol inks, there is a way to seal them, and Kamar Varnish will prevent inks from reactivating. I will explain at the end what is the next step to sealing, but for now I have just added a very light layer of Kamar just so my Posca ink markers don't get absorbed into the ink and it stays true to its color, which is white. There are some colors, for example, the magenta will tend to turn these pink. So the Kamar varnish will help prevent some of that. Not all the time, but most times it will prevent the ink from going pink. The longer you let this sit and dry, the better it will work as far as not absorbing the alcohol ink dyes into the white of the marker. All right, so I went ahead and I did put my paper towel holder back into the hole of the ornament in order to spray this. I did do this outside, by the way. It does have fumes, and you do not want to spray this indoors. All right, so that said, I'm going to go ahead and take my marker. You want to have something to actually write on. You'll probably need something to clean the marker tip on it if need be, and to actually get it going. All right, so there we go. So the first thing we're going to do then is outline all of the pieces of your design. In other words, all the pieces of your puzzle. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And all I'm doing is outlining with my white marker. And that is the first step I do. And it actually looks quite pretty just with that. Now, if your tip gets dirty, just clean it. You want to make sure it's not dripping with ink. Before you put it back on your ornament. You don't want to you don't want to put your hand or glove right over the ink you just doodled on. You want to move away because it will smudge. It doesn't take long to dry. So you want to be sure that you don't accidentally smudge it as you're doodling. Walk away from it or doodle away from the pieces. So you allow those areas to dry before you continue. All right, I believe I now have all my patches outlined in white. You can see it looks beautiful, just like that. So what I tell my students is, when I give this workshop, do whatever doodles makes you happy, whatever doodles you have been doing as a kid. Apply those here. If you have some Zentangle skills, by all means, do Zentangle. Google some images and get some inspiration. That is how I started doing these. I have also some examples here, and I'm just going to just do random things. Notice how I did a flower here. I did a stem of leaves there, another flower. I did curly cues, just anything that your heart desires. And I'm going to go ahead and start. And you can look at what I'm doing and get inspired, or use your own inspiration or find others. This is your ornament, whatever makes you happy and allows you to relax and enjoy the process. No need to stress over this. This will take some time, So if you want to do it in a span of an afternoon, a few hours, this is something good to do as you are watching TV or watching a movie and, just doodle, need to do something in the kitchen, put it down and come back to it. Just take your time and I'll probably just speed up the process here. All right. Well, looks like I'm done with my doodles, and I did a very quick demo of this. So you can see I did different designs. Which designs you choose to do is totally up to you. You can add more, add less, and this could go on for actually hours. All right, so once you are done doodling, what you're going to do to finish sealing your piece, you're going to take your ornament outdoors, and you will give it 2 more light layers of Kamar. This will finish setting the ink so it does not accidentally rebloom when we do the final stage, which is applying the UV spray. You want to allow 15 to 20 minutes between each light coat so that it completely dries in between them. Once you have allowed the Kamar to dry and you've done your 3 layers, you are then going to proceed with the UV resistant clear acrylic coating. Now, I like to use Krylon, and this is gloss, so it will have some shine to it. You will apply it in the same fashion you did with Kamar. You're going to go outdoors. You do have to shake these cans for 2 minutes. And you will do 3 light layers, waiting about at least 15 to 20 minutes between coats. Once you are done with that and sealing your piece, you're then ready to put your top back on. So you're going to remove your paper towel and you will replace the top. And here's your finished ornament. So let me just recap. We prepped the ornament, the inside, with white paint. We let that dry, and then we started doodling with our Piñata alcohol inks. I let that dry and added 1 light layer of Kamar Varnish to set the ink before I started doodling with my Posca marker. And once I finished doodling my ornament, I did 2 more light layers of Kamar, letting dry 15 to 20 minutes at least between each layer. This will prevent your alcohol from reactivating once you go with the UV spray. If you skip Kamar, your ornament will get ruined because all of your alcohol will reactivate and just erase all of your ink markings, your Posca marks. You want to not skip the Kamar. If you go straight to the UV spray, you will end up ruining your piece because the ink will be reactivated by the ingredients of the UV spray. That's it for this tutorial. If you have any questions, please let me know by posting in the comments. Also, make sure to follow and subscribe to this channel for future tutorials, and follow my page on Facebook, Painting with Marge, and on Instagram. Thank you, and see you soon.